You know, some stories, they just don't die. They find new places to live, new wires to cross, new screens to haunt. We're not gathered around a campfire tonight. No, we're plugging in. We're talking about the code, the cartridges, and the consoles. Let's go looking for the ghosts in the machine.
Feel that? That little jolt? That sharp, sudden twist of dread? That right there is the engine that drives modern internet horror. It's a totally new way of telling stories, born in these anonymous corners of the web, and it's designed to hit you as hard as possible in just a few lines. It's basically a ghost story for the digital age.
And yeah, these stories actually have a name, creepypasta. It's a pretty clever mix of creepy and copy pasta, which was old-school internet slang for any block of text that gets copied and pasted all over the place. So you can think of them as the internet's campfire tales, passed from forum to forum, and they change a little bit with every single share. But here's the thing. While the way we tell these stories is brand new, the fears themselves, they're ancient. Long before we were afraid of what was hiding in a game's code, we were terrified of what was hiding inside the objects we brought into our own homes.
And this idea, it's a total classic in horror, right? The cursed object. It taps into this really primal fear that evil isn't always in some faraway castle. Sometimes it can hide in plain sight, and it kind of latches onto the most boring, everyday things, turning them against us.
And this is the perfect example. I mean, The Monkey's Paw is the classic story about this. It's a story not just about a cursed object, but about how our own desires can get twisted and used against us. The real horror isn't just the magic, it's how your own good intentions curdle into absolute tragedy. And that's a theme we are definitely going to see again.
Okay, so look at this. We've got two images here, 100 years apart. On the left, from the classic story The Great God Pan, a man is just found stark dead on the pavement. It's this cold, random, inexplicable terror. On the right, a corrupted game character, a glitch in the system. They're both tapping into that same deep-seated fear, this unknowable evil that just inserts itself into our reality without any warning. The medium is totally different, paper versus pixels, but the ghost is the same. It's just moved into the machine.
So, how in the world did these digital legends spread like wildfire? Well, the way the early internet was built was kind of the perfect breeding ground. You had the total anonymity of forums and image boards, which made every story feel like it could be a real first-hand account. And just a simple act of copying and pasting let these tales spread like a digital virus, and it created this brand new kind of collaborative folklore for our time.
And pretty quickly, this new kind of folklore started breaking off into its own little subgenres. You've got the lost episodes of kids' TV shows, weird rituals that supposedly give you a peek into the paranormal, cursed images, and even totally new monsters like Slender Man. But there's one category, one in particular, that really seems to hit a nerve with us today, which is why we're diving deep into the world of haunted video games.
All right, so get ready. We are about to count down the 5 most infamous, most talked about digital nightmares to ever crawl out of the code. This is where the line between the player, the programmer, and the phantom just completely disappears.
Okay, kicking things off at number 5, we've got a story that takes a hero from so many of our childhoods and just turns him into an absolute monster.
The thing about Sonic.exe, what makes it so genuinely chilling, is that it totally weaponizes your nostalgia. It takes this icon of fun and speed and colorful worlds and twists him into this thing. The player, Tom, has to watch, totally helpless, as this demonic Sonic with these black, bleeding eyes just systematically hunts down and murders his friends. So the real horror here isn't even the blood and gore. It's the fact that it violates this safe, happy memory from your childhood.
And then, after all the carnage is over, the screen flashes with this one single terrifying message. But the real kicker, the part that really gets under your skin, is when the game just shatters the fourth wall. The story goes that Tom turns away from his computer, and he sees a bloody Sonic plush doll sitting right there on his bed. And that's the real terror, isn't it? The monster isn't in the screen anymore. It's in the room with you.
Coming in at number 4 is a legend that feels, well, it feels disturbingly real. It kind of blurs that line between a creepy story and what feels like a cryptic cry for help.
See, Patscop didn't start out as a story. It was framed as a discovery. It was presented as a Let's Play series on YouTube, where a guy was documenting his journey through this supposedly lost PlayStation game from 1997. It starts off all cute and quirky, but then he finds this hidden, unfinished part of the game called the New Maker Plane. And then, the whole tone shifts. It gets incredibly dark, super cryptic, and it's filled with these chilling references to a very real, very tragic case involving a child named Candace Newmaker. And that's where the line between fiction and reality it completely dissolves. You're left wondering, is this just an amazing story, or am I watching someone uncover evidence of an actual crime?
All right, for number 3, we're digging into one of the OGs, one of the oldest and most influential video game urban legends out there. We're talking about a story of government conspiracy and mind control, a story that was supposedly hidden in plain sight, right there at your local arcade.
Man, the legend of Polybius is just a perfect storm of 80s paranoia. The story claims a handful of these weird arcade machines were dropped in Portland, Oregon, as some kind of psychological experiment. Players reported amnesia, nightmares, all sorts of stuff. And then these mysterious men in black would show up to collect data from the machines before they vanished forever. And the craziest part? No one has ever found an original machine. Not one. Which, of course, just makes the whole mystery that much deeper.
Our number 2 spot. This is a story that preyed on the fears of pretty much every parent out there. The idea was that it was targeting an entire generation of kids right through their Game Boys.
If you'd played the original Pokemon, you know Lavender Town. It was the creepy town with the Pokemon Tower, basically a giant ghost-filled graveyard. So the legend goes that the music in the original Japanese version of the game had these weird high-frequency tones that drove dozens of children to suicide. But here's the truly chilling part. This whole legend has a terrifying echo of a real-world event. Just a year later, a real episode of the Pokemon anime actually did cause hundreds of kids to have seizures because of its rapid flashing lights. It's this freaky case where a real scary event probably got tangled up with the game's already eerie reputation to create a legend that nobody can forget.
And that brings us to our number 1, the big one. A story so detailed, so personal, and honestly so terrifyingly convincing that it basically defined the entire genre of video game creepypasta.
We're talking about Ben Drowned. The story unfolded through a series of forum posts and YouTube videos from a guy named Jaducible. He documented his time playing a haunted copy of Majora's Mask. But this isn't just some glitchy old cartridge. No, the story presents it as an active, malicious intelligence. The game literally fights back. It manipulates text, deletes his save files, and uses that creepy Elegy of Emptiness statue to stalk him. When you follow the story, it honestly feels like you're reading the diary of someone who is slowly but surely losing their mind.
And it's lines like this that just make the whole thing so bone-chilling. That's not just a random glitch, you know? It's a direct, personal threat from whatever is in that machine. Ben, the ghost that's supposedly haunting the game, isn't just a bug in the code. He's using the code as a weapon. He's turning a world that was meant for adventure into a personalized prison of psychological torture.
So what is it about these stories? Why are they so darned effective? I mean, they're just stories, right? Just fiction. But there's a reason these digital ghosts feel so much closer, so much more personal than the old-school ghosts we picture rattling chains in some castle.
It's because they tap directly into our anxieties, our modern anxieties. Think about it. A haunted game, for example, isn't just a cursed object like the monkey's paw. It's a corrupted save file. It's something that can literally wipe away hours of your progress, your memory. Ben Drowned isn't just a ghost. It's a malevolent AI twisting a system's rules against you. Polybius isn't just a scary story. It's our fear of being watched and manipulated through the screens we stare at every day. These stories stick with us because they're all about that loss of control in a digital world that, let's be honest, we built, but we don't really fully understand anymore.
And all of this, it leaves us with one final, pretty unsettling question. I mean, if these are the ghosts that were born from simple code and early internet forums, what kind of monsters are we creating right now? In a world of deepfakes and AI that can perfectly mimic the people we love, what are the next ghost stories even going to look like? What happens when we can't tell the difference anymore between a real person and the ghost in the machine?